Well, how do you like that, everyone? It's been a while, okay? It seems like forever for me, but I just want you guys to know that Jimmy V Live is going places. All right, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to have announcement. I said I want to have a special announcement before we get to the show. The first announcement is going to be we're doing a sports show, okay? I handpicked the gentleman that I know for a very long time. Excellent guy to do the sports, knows much more than me. Eric Snyder. We're going to do that starting Monday. It's going to be Sports Nucleus. You guys got a little teaser there of our intro. And we're still going to do the food and beverage side too. And we're going to do a supernatural one down the road. And I just want you guys to know that it's dedicated for you guys. And there's only been one sponsor of the show all the way along. And that's, of course, my company, JVC, has been funding everything. So, of course, I'm going to ask you guys to go to YouTube and subscribe. You know, I don't want to beg nobody, but that's the way it works. But getting to the show today, okay? Everybody knows the origin where I'm from. Okay, everybody knows I come from the background of the Bellagio. Okay, as you can see behind me, I got the nice Bellagio background, right? Nice. That's what a green screen can do. So I'm going up in the world here, guys. But one thing I want you to know is these two gentlemen that I have, okay, on the show today. They are, not only are they good friends, but they are compadres from the very beginning days of the Bellagio. So all you people who are out there who remember the Bellagio beginning days, like behind me here, you guys will know these guys. The first executive sous chef, the original of the Bellagio, Kevin Thompson. Here he is. I'm going to put him in right in there. There he is. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Jimmy. Jimmy V.
Hey, what's going on, buddy? And let's get our Caribbean connection here, live from Jamaica, okay? The capital of the world down there. Don't tell us all about it. Here we go. We get the drum roll and everything. This gentleman, Mr. Chef Donovan Campbell. There you go. Look at that, live from Jamaica, man. You're making me international here. What's going on?
Right, that's right.
I love it. I love it. And I'm so happy you guys are there already. See, we're making Dave Evans over there. And here, I'll put it on there for you guys. This gentleman here is in England. So, you know, they're going through their own thing too. And he watches. He's a good guy. He's an excellent guy. And they're going through a lot over there as well. But I'm glad I got you guys together. That's why I put the nice, beautiful background behind me for the memory days. We're going to share a bunch of information of the old days. We're going to share what's going on in your part of the world with this, unfortunate COVID situation. And we're going to go and talk about the good things, the bad things, and everything in between. You know what I mean? But I'd like to start off, which Donovan probably don't know this, okay? And Kevin's probably going to remember this because Kevin was the guy who pushed for me in the very beginning, okay? I remember when I first tried to get a job. I wasn't even looking for a job. I don't know if you guys even know the story. I came to.
We got to tell the story, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Tell the story, man.
I came here on vacation, and I was driving down. They were building the Bellagio, right? And I couldn't. I said, you know what? I have an idea. I'm going to become the in-house health inspector there. And people laughed at me back home. So I said, how the hell am I going to do it? So there was a guy outside who was working construction. Now, I'm sure these days it's not going to happen anymore, okay? But he was talking to me. I said, who do I talk to? I want to do something. You know, he goes, well, look, there's a guy who comes here all the time, okay? He comes and does, and he's overseeing the construction, and it's a guy named Bobby Baldwin, okay? So you got to send him a letter, okay? I said, well, who's he? Okay, I'm from Florida. I don't know these guys, right? So the guy said, here's his email, not email address, because then we didn't have email. It was his address to send the information in. So I send the information in, right? I don't hear nothing. But what I get back in the mail, okay, is the sorry Charlie letter. Okay, you know how he says, thank you for applying. Now, I didn't know how it went back in the day, guys. Back in the day, you guys and Kevin could probably see it. You get all these abundance of applications, and I didn't know that they already chose me, okay? And then I get a phone call. And the phone call was Grant, okay? He sent me, he says, where are you? I said, what are you talking about? He says, you created your own job. I said, what do you mean I created my own job? And then I had a phone call, and I had to tell him, well, come on down. So I had to sell everything and move west, young man. And then this is where Kevin, I met Kevin and everybody. We were all thin guys back in the day, right? We were all young guys back in the day.
Lots of energy, too.
Oh, man, lots of energy. I didn't know what I was getting into. And I remember speaking to Kevin and says, what do I do? He says, go introduce yourself to the health department, which I did already. And he says, I got to work with small wares and getting these guys working. Just find ways how to shortcuts for us through the hallways. And I did. I mean, we all worked together in the beginning. Remember those days, guys?
It was much deeper than that. Jimmy, you have more to do with that than you say, but you're being humble.
Oh, yeah. You can share it. Go ahead and share it. Hey, Mike.
Well, okay, so back in that day, you know, we were putting this awesome experience together, the hotel that you see behind Jimmy. And at the time, it was the most expensive casino that any of us had ever been around. I think we did 1.3 billion at the end of the day when Steve was done with it. And you know, when I started, it was in the trailers and back of Mirage, and there were still just pillars basically in the main floors, and the kitchens were pretty much shells. Some of the equipment had been set in, but for the most part, it was a new facility. So, you know, after Grant had gotten hired and we started rolling and Jimmy came along, Grant came to me and said, hey, you know, Steve Wynn talked to me about this guy and he wants us to hire him. And I'm like, and I look at your resume and he goes, you know, we feel like there's going to be so many meals going through this property. It's inevitable that we have to obviously spend money on training. Now, Bellagio had its own training room, and it was very forward thinking. And Jimmy was the first, in my experience, the first sanitation manager that we had that was dedicated to food and beverage. And Grant was like, we're going to hire this guy because Steve wants him and we need him. Put him to work. And so that's obviously started Jimmy coming over and starting to work with us. And now he's way too humble after that. He wasn't searching out. I don't remember him ever searching out hallways. And he helped us with a lot of stuff that we never would have imagined. Jimmy, you know, opening that property, you fail to grasp the full gravity of those properties until you've been in one and you started to run one. I mean, when Donovan and I and you were starting this property out, we had, I think, 25,000 applicants for 10,000 jobs that we had to basically start hiring for. Nobody had ever seen it or done it to that scale. And with the knowledge that we were doing a 5-star, 5-diamond property. You know, with the trim and the accoutrements and the property, the way it was built. I remember walking around those hallways before they were built and being able to basically tell you everything about that building, how much the water cannons weighed in the front fountain, how many divers were in there, how many gallons of water were in that beautiful, you know, fountain outside.
Yeah.
That was only part of our battle. That was only part of it. You know, there was the show, the entertainment and all that, but then there was the practical side. Okay, we had 25 outlets. We had, you know, I was exec sous and I was walking around to do one round in the hotel. It took an hour and 45 minutes just to say stop. Yeah, just to stop and say hello to each one of the sous chefs. And, you know, we had 874 culinary positions, 630 or so stewards, if I remember right, plus 70 managers, executive chef level managers, and the undertaking that we were able to do because of the tools that we had, the team that we had, the people like Jimmy, Donovan, and everybody else, Grant, who had seen this level of production, you know, 25,000 meals, $215 million. For our first year in revenue. I'd never done it. And we couldn't have done it without you, Jimmy. I mean,
thanks.
think of the time what was going on then. I mean, we were going through I think the 2000 code at that time. Yeah. And we were ahead of the code.
Oh yeah. And I remember when I had Mark LaRusso on last season, you know, and he said, I said, well, Mark, you remember when I walked in your kitchen? Because, yeah, when I first met you, he said to me, the first thing I said to you was, why are you here now? I said, I got to
Yeah.
start. They didn't even set up the kitchens yet. I had to start. You remember Donovan? You were in the garment
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Garment
yeah.
at that time. Yeah.
You know, and that was my first encounter because, as Kevin says here in Jimmy, I've never known anything about the position that you have there. You know, I've never worked with it before, right? And Kevin, as humble as he may be there, you know, when we first met, right, we met like at Bellagio, not Bellagio, at Beverly
Beverly Hills
Hills.
Hotel. Do you want to
And
put
so,
that picture up?
yeah,
Yeah,
You gotta put that picture up.
Put that picture up here. Hang on.
that's where it starts for me, right? That's where it starts for me. Right,
There
right?
it is.
You can see me right here, the skinny guy, right?
There it is. There's Kevin.
Yeah, you know, that was when, right? So, but that's where it starts for me, right there, you know. Until I got a call from Kevin says, "Hey man, you want to come to Vegas?" I've never been to Vegas. I have no idea. I had no idea where Vegas was, you know. So when I got to Vegas and to walk into Bellagio, was like, okay, this is like a dream. It is the biggest place I've ever seen, you know. So my first encounter with Jimmy, I mean the Garma J, we had about maybe what 75, 80 staff there. We were dealing with banquets, buffet, everything there, you know. And Jimmy came and says, "Hey, I'm the in-house, you know." I'm like, "What?" And I said, "I'm the in-house guy." And I'm telling you, you know, Jimmy would just make sure that, listen, man, kitchen not only clean, but he keep us in line as it relates to any issues that may occur, you know, or that he see that would probably get us in trouble at the end of the day, you know. And I think that what Jimmy did there, man, it really helped us. I know it helps me a lot as it relates to learning a lot of things at a different level, especially where the Bellagio was concerned, because as Kevin says, Bellagio, we were setting a new trend. You know, we were basically setting a new and just a new height, a new standard for everything. You know, so every chef that comes through that place, and back then, there at the Bellagio, as a chef, if your department gets graded down,
Oh yeah. Don't
you
forget
know what
that, right,
happened.
Kevin? Kevin came to me. We gotta hold them accountable. We
Yeah.
gotta hold them accountable.
Yeah, you know what happened right there. I don't need to say it, you know. But you should get graded down, man. It was not a good thing. You would not have a good day. Period. You know. So that's where it
You
starts.
know,
There is.
Donovan, I just saw Stefano get on. Stefano's what your compadre there, Jimmy. I think he and you being the first of this, it gave us an incredible amount of training and common sense, because basically your sort of modus operandi that I remember was, look, it doesn't matter if a health department, a person from the health department is coming in today or not, if they're here or not. You should always
be ready.
Be on point. It doesn't matter if they're here or not. And nobody should be afraid or uncomfortable. They
Right.
should know exactly what's going on, what they're looking for, what they need to be doing. And that to me was we had to do it at those volumes. I mean, we had 100,000 square feet of banquet space. You know, Donovan, the kitchen you were in was a major manufacturing plant, basically. I mean, we had between the main kitchen and you guys could do anything, basically. We had rooms full of equipment, rooms full of cook and chill apparatus and special coolers and choppers and dicers and the best talent. I mean, the talent that was there between pretty much any culture I could think of. I could go and find somebody to either speak a language, learn about a certain ethnic food or a cultural event. It was, for me, a gold mine. It was magic, and from going, when I came over from the Beverly Hills Hotel. We opened it with, some of you guys might remember Greg Waldron, Jim Perillo, Jeff, the guys that really came in and helped us out. I was first, but they definitely came in and made their impact. I went from doing 97 turkey dinners at the Polo Lounge to 2,400 meals at Roma in 1 month, and it was like, wait a minute, this is serious business here. So when you're dealing with that much product, that many people, that many meals, and you're touching them, and you can, remember that they're taking that stuff in their body and can make them sick quick. So for us, it was a fun games, finding out how to train, how to retain, how to, and then bring up all the special culinary products and accomplishments that, obviously keep going on in the industry.
Yeah.
The industry's pretty hard hit right now, but that was a good magical time. It's going to recreate. It'll keep going. But
it'll come back. Vegas always
it'll
does.
come back.
But you know what? We had good times in Bellagio. But what I really want to get to is, what are you guys doing now? Don, I know you're a well-traveled guy. I know that you've come to my home parties that we've had with Sonia, my wife, and all. You know the family. You've been here so many times. Those crazy parties I've had. Not crazy, but large amount of people. It's been fun. But what are you doing now, man? What's Jamaica like? All right? It's your home.
I'm always moving around. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Always trying to elevate the skills and just to try to keep as fresh as possible. So I'm a guy that I take a lot of chances as it relates to this type of actual profession. You can't really sit. But here in Jamaica now for going on about 3 months, came in here at the Grand Palladium Resort in Jamaica. Beautiful resort, man. It's awesome. And if guests are traveling, people are here. The hotel, as I said, its occupancy kind of fluctuates, give and take there, but guests are here. And as it relates to COVID, we have there's a very good system that we have here as it relates to making sure that we're staying in line. When it comes down to this major COVID thing here. So mask, you have to wear a mask basically everywhere. You cannot enter any one of the restaurants without a mask on. The temperature is being checked. You will not be served like we do the buffet breakfast and lunch at this point, but it's a no touch policy there. So we will have a little bit more staff than guests, so to speak, just to make sure that guests are not able to serve themselves, at the end of the day. So there's no contact tracing as it relates to, from staff to guests. Once we take the plate and ask you what what option of meal you'd like and put the meals on that plate and hand that plate to you, we're not allowed to take that plate back. We're not allowed to touch that plate anymore as you move down the line. So the next staff may be able to put the food on your plate, but they're not supposed to take the plate basically from you. And so it's just a lot of sanitizing. You remind me of like when I was on the ship. If there is any major issue on the ship there, the switch over between guests and staff is huge, right? So we kind of treat it almost like a isolation type type of thing. We kind of treat it more like a basic rec code, everyday rec code, right? Where you're just not allowed to just do anything by yourself. But other than that, the resort continue to really turn around. As I said, guests, they're here, they're some happy, some not so happy because they're not able to do certain things that, as it is what they would like to do on vacation. Everyone wants to serve themselves, so on and so forth. But when it comes on to the food aspect as it relates to where we are in the kitchen that we run, we're very tight. We're very tight knit and very disciplined when it comes down to that. So, as you know, coming to Jamaica, you have to basically take a COVID test. You have to make sure that you're negative before you can even enter the plane at the end of the day. And once you get to the airport, then you're tested again. So the transition from wherever you're coming from to the island here is very strict as it relates to basically getting in. Once you're here, we still take no chances at the end of the day. So a lot of briefing every day to kind of remind team members of where we are in this world right now, what's happening, and the things that we need to do not only to keep guests safe but to also keep ourselves safe as well. As it relates to basic as it relates to just what's happening. But beautiful resort, man, and a lot is happening here.
Excellent, excellent. So you're pretty much on the lockdown, pretty much. I want to
Yeah,
blow
man.
your minds, guys. I want to blow your minds. Okay, before we get to Kevin, he's going through. Okay, here, what's happening in Vegas right now? Okay, you guys watch my podcast. I'm not really a fan of our governor, but in a way, I can understand what he's doing. Okay, it's not about politics. Okay, this is about what's really happening. Okay, we know this is a real serious thing. Las Vegas is down to 25% maximum capacity for the restaurants. So, to say the least of how many people have lost their jobs, whether it's a food side, beverage side, you guys know what Vegas is all about.
Yeah.
What's the main industry of Las Vegas? Okay. Every industry is basically based on this industry, whether it's my point of view from health inspection, whether it's from the point of view, you guys as chefs, whether it's you're a bartender. And the way it started out here, guys, and you guys aren't aware of this because you're aware of it full blown, was we had to start off with a situation of the politic game. Okay. And we knew that's what it was. They started focusing on, let's not worry about the casinos. Let's worry about the taverns, and they got a bad deal. So they were like more restricted. Then it all came into play where everybody's restricted. But to make a long story short, it's horrible. It's horrible. The people that I see lost their jobs. The people that are scrambling, no unemployment ran out. I mean, it's done. It's done. They're trying to recoup. I know Vegas will come back. We know that it'll come back. But the fact of how many places have closed down, it's now the point of what was Vegas all about, guys, before? It was about quality, right?
Yeah.
It was about quality and actually, attaining to your guests. Like we were speaking about the Bellagio in the beginning. There are, believe me, there are restaurants that are still doing quality, but based on what they can get. The vendors are still down to 25%. So everybody who's focused on this 25% it's based on, the hospitalizations. It's based on the debts. It's based on the cases that are out there. Okay. In the beginning, it was the health department wasn't even involved, gentlemen. It was based on OSHA. Okay. So it was really messed up. Okay. The health department now has been brought in. It's been crazy. So to say the least, that Las Vegas has suffered, it has. And, it goes out to everybody that I see struggling out there. It's hard. And I know it's not only Vegas, it's all over the country. Everybody has their different opinions. Like I was telling you guys off the air, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have people from different parts of the country to let them know what they're going through that the media doesn't say, that. And we're putting politics aside, okay, because this is what's really happening to everybody out there. What's on your side of the fence over there, Kevin? What's going on in your end?
Well, first of all, I got to tell Dave that my favorite comfort food is anything my wife or family make for me, man. Made with love, right? Now, I've been able to work with my family, my son. My son's now working in a casino up here in Oregon. I'm in Oregon, Central Coast, Oregon. Our situation is much like the rest of the country. It is interrupted, to say the very least.
Right.
It is the last thing we probably ever thought we'd have to go through. To this extent, I would think. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
yeah,
this has hit everybody, not just one local area, not just like even, temporarily. This is dragging on. But I see a lot of silver lining in the fact that people are starting to understand that the restaurant workers, the hospitality industry is really an intricate part of our economy. It's an intricate part of our daily lives when you think about it. From the local restaurant, and it's exactly what you're saying, Jimmy. It's about connection. It's about hospitality. What do we hear? What is the hardest thing that was for us to train on? Was not necessarily the black and white of either a sanitation code or something like that, or even a 5 and 10 rule, right? It was to actually get that engagement going, actually to get somebody to, drag somebody in, right? Because that's our business. Now, we've all been hit with the fact that we have to do what's totally the opposite of what our natural inkling is, to bring somebody in and connect with them with just sight and speaking and tastes. And the chef side is always taste and color and things that you can really take part in, right? So now I see a lot of things happening. I see a lot of things that are going to be coming down the road. I went to the Infogenesis workshop in February in Florida, down by you. Sorry I didn't come to see you, Donovan. I was close.
Man, you're
yeah. And there's a lot of things going on with mobile ordering, with bounce backs, with marketing budgeting in the casinos and in the restaurants, right? I mean, the casinos, to your comment, Jimmy, who can make it on 25%? Who can make it here? 35 counties are closed and only available for to-go orders, right?
Right.
So I was working with a client, and I have a company called Serapis Incorporated, and basically I am a independent manufacturer's representative for Gray Rose Foods, which is under the on the screen there. But my company focuses on all kinds of profit-related, hospitality-related touch points, whether it be from analytics, dashboards, management overview, profit review, budgeting, training, management training, analytics, right? All the things that we started to do back in the day. I remember in Caesars, we started to do the Dr. Watson project, where we had to measure every step, recipe, minute that it took to cool down, retherm, all the whole thing. Now we're much more progressed, right? We know that the inputs and outputs are it has a lot to do with your two controllables, labor and food cost, right?
Yep.
So I do product development and property development. On the product development side, we have all kinds of manufacturing partners that we get with to help casinos and hotels, large chains, realize a really consistent product to their specification at a delivered price through whatever channel they wish. We basically do forced distribution on small product manufacturing. So we don't need to have 6,000 gallons of soup or whatever. We can do 300. We don't need 25,000 pounds of something made. We can do 1,500 or 1,000, which are really small batches, but they're high quality. So as a chef, when I was working as a chef here in Oregon, I was working with a company that has been here for 35 years, and that's Gray Rose. And Greg, the owner, he's amazing. The guys there, it's a small team. It's basically we get our financing through the manufacturers, because our manufacturers, we try and fill up production time. You guys remember? Well, even Donovan, Donovan, the secret to success is production, right? Your
Right.
scheduling, how much labor you have, and what are they doing with the time.
Recipe money.
So, yeah. So, when I'm talking to people, I'm talking about food, or I'm talking about the experience. Everybody right now is talking about COVID and the limitations.
Right.
So I'm working with clients on doing things with their drive-in and their to-go revenues, as well as property development, because that's starting to come up. As people start to see this loosen up, they're going to start to take over properties and get in line for when we open up, which is going to be this year sometime. We're all hoping, right? We're all praying and hoping. So basically, I get to stay home during the holidays now, but it's been very frustrating, because as hospitality people, we want to get out, we want to see people, we want to help people achieve their goals. So that's basically what I'm doing in a nutshell.
that's a lot. That's good. It's great.
Yeah.
Because I know we've been in contact with different things over the time frame of things you're doing. And it's very exciting. What you're
Yeah.
doing.
So you bring up a good point, Jimmy. Last time I talked to you, I was working on a food company in LA. And the food, it was a small food company, small fabrication plant. It used to be the old Zaki Farms chicken plant that was converted. That's an old landmark chicken fabrication building in Culver City, California. When all the mail order meals, chef inspired meals for pickup with Uber or through web, whatever channel you wanted to get them through, and people started to kind of figure out, okay, I don't have the indoor seating, I better do something. So I started working with these really interesting restaurateurs who were turning parking spaces into pickup spots, and how much money were they generating? Like each spot that I was looking at was generating well over $20,000 a night. So, when you're talking about trends, we're talking about when COVID comes back, there's going to be, I think, a slimming of the dining rooms for those high-end chefs. They're going to want to give you a really inspired experience for a few people, but then they're going to be doing their regular food out of this sort of to-go thing where people can just pick up a taste of what they're doing and they can take it home, because it's really becoming more practice now, So yeah. And so when you start bringing that in with information technology, with sales and marketing analytics, where you can actually see which items are working or concepts are working, that's where I like to be, working with people that actually want to see stuff move.
Yeah, you were mentioning infogenesis, and I remember the days of infogenesis. What was the one before infogenesis that was real big, Kevin?
Micros.
There you go. I remember it. I remember all that. People don't realize that the training that we had back in the day was so phenomenal. Okay, we used to think, oh, here we go again, but look how it's worked throughout the year, right? It really has.
Infogenesis. Man, too much.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, because there's a system that measures the alcohol, right, by weight now. I don't know if that's infogenesis or another one. I mean, there's so many things that are out there that I listen to when people speak. From what's really fortunate about what I do is when I'm in the kitchen and I'm doing my job, these are working. Okay, I'm listening. And I'm able to learn ergonomics. I'm able to learn, because you remember, Kevin, my whole thing was, okay, here's the health code. All right. Here's what you guys do. Let's meet in the middle and make sure it works, and that's what I did. And then I'm listening to how chefs work. People think that a chef just cooks. Well, that's not true, guys. Okay. There's so much more to a chef position. Okay. And when I got into the world and I started seeing it from the outside looking in, because as a health inspector, you got tunnel vision. You just see what's right's wrong. But when you get in and see how everything develops to what you guys do, right? I learned from you guys that it's not all about just cooking. Okay, there's a lot more to it. I mean, you guys are running a show. You've got people underneath you. Of course, you guys had to deal with union stuff here where we were. They still have to deal with union stuff in the positions.
That was a lot, and that was a lot all by itself.
Right. Like you don't have, you have all the time in the world for that. Then you got to answer to the people about budgets, and then you got to handle about, okay, the cost factors. I learned so much from just watching you guys work. Okay, and
I have an 8,000 people banquet going on up there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not an easy job. So, it's like when people tell me, I want to do what you do. I said, well, that's great, and I said, but guess I can't do what you do. And they go, and I'm talking to chefs, and they go, why? I says, because it is a lot of dedication and hours. You know what I mean? You have to put in. Ain't no 9-to-5 job doing that. Ain't no big time chef 9 to 5, okay? And even if you're working on the lower end and you're doing something not in a casino, it's still not 9 to 5, okay? And it's like people used to tell me all the time, and Kevin will love this one, oh, you got your own business now. It's going to be easy for you. No, it's 3 times as hard, okay? Because you got a lot more responsibility. But no, I
think some of the things that's really missed, and when you even look at this generation now, even in Vegas when I was there, maybe about 4 years ago, 3, 4 years back, at Bellagio, including yourself, Jimmy, and Chef Kevin, we got, it was mandatory to do a lot of classes. Regardless of where you were coming from, it was mandatory to do a lot of classes. Because you got to remember too, Bellagio in the early days was not only the premier resort to be, but we were importing chefs from all over the world who could not manage or handle the, like you're saying, the union and all these different things that needs to be managed, right? So we had to go to a lot of training, a lot of classes, and those classes, when you look back now, even in my career now where I'm going, I'm still using a lot of those things I was able to learn, right, and implement and use them up to this day. So,
Yeah, and up to this day, guys, I got the first culinary handbook, Kevin. I still have it.
I one of those too. Let's give a shout out to one of these questions here, if you don't mind, Jimmy.
No, I got a couple questions here because there's a couple questions for sure that are coming through. And you mentioned Dave. Okay, Dave said that. What was your favorite food? What's your favorite food, Mr. Donovan, chef? What's your favorite food? Comfort food?
My favorite comfort food right now, man, it's a lot of jerk chicken, but anyway. That's good. That's my favorite comfort food right now,
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah. And
can you see that picture? Or no, let me share my screen here real quick.
Okay, you have to share your screen. Here's Dave. He said that in the UK, they're trying to look after all the local produce suppliers in the area to keep them going. And we are looking after all our local farms. Local produce needs their help. And you see, it's true. Everybody has their own issues. You know what I mean?
Right.
No matter what country you're going through, when they're going through this whole thing. And he says he agrees with you 100%, Kevin. So, so Dave.
Hey, do you see that? You see that picture up there?
Let me see. Let me grab it there. There we go. Wow.
So here's an old shot from the Caesar's Palace there, Dave. And this guy right up here, his name is Bradley Rowe. We talk all the time. He's a great friend. He was sorry.
Whoa, that's all right.
He is on the Isle of Wight, and he is doing a very farm to table garden operation. And me up here in the Pacific Northwest, that's one of the things that we all have to be. I gotta put this out there because he's speaking the truth. Our farming, our aquaculture, the restaurant business, these are all very serious things that are affecting us. We have to start looking at these. We have to start buying local, using organic stuff that we can grow locally and put people to work on. Do you remember, Donovan? We used to have a ripening room because we needed to bring in enough fruit so that we could ripen it so it's ready to eat, right? Because one of our standards was we didn't just put out whatever. It had to be
that's a good quality. And number one, we could not be out of it as well too. We couldn't say, hey, this is green, we can serve it, or that was green, that was delivered. So we had to have our own staging room as it relates to a lot of fruits and veg. Yeah, definitely.
And then you had to deal with purchasing.
Well, yeah. Well, we had a chef. Another position that we actually had.
That was quality control guy.
Correct. We had a couple of them. Started with Leo.
Yeah.
Leo Leonardi? No. Yeah.
Leo, yeah. And then you had Gary. Remember Gary came over from Mirage for the butcher?
Yeah.
Yes.
We were making everything.
These large places, or even Donovan out in Jamaica, you get from the mainland some of your stuff. Thinking better about our systems, our fishing system, our food systems, our food sovereignty, and our food comfort. We're going to be going into a time right now that everybody's going to be needing a lot of help. So we just need to kind of buck up, put our chin out there, and start to really make some changes. I'm surprised that our seafood is still coming in. I'm right on the coast, and I can tell you that when I was younger at Bellagio, I didn't really have a lot of access to the ocean and to the things that I have access to here. So the fisheries, bad shape. You know, the gardens that Dave's bringing up. We got to pay attention to what's going on. It's definitely to the point where we need to keep supplying great quality food that's healthy to everybody that's coming to visit Bellagio. We don't want them to have, you know, something that is subpar.
Yeah.
You know, and it's starting to get that way. So.
And there's a lot of people out here also that are they're going through a lot, and you know, there's a lot of people that just don't understand. They're coming here to come to vacation. Oh, everything's low rates. Well, yeah, because nothing's open. You know, people don't realize that. And you know, and they're nailing a lot of the local restaurants out here, guys, with the, you know, the negative comments on what are those, you know, on what is that, the big one that's on I can't, you know what I'm talking about, when you can go on
TripAdvisor,
yeah, the TripAdvisor. There's another one that's the big time one on the internet that everybody goes to, and they go on it and they knock them down, and they don't realize, you know, yeah, you don't have the staff you used to have. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, you talk to people, like I know there's two of my accounts, and I won't have to name them, but they had, you know, nobody ever had like what Bellagio had. I don't know, how many you have 5 executive sous chefs, whatever. Those days are over, right? From the beginning days.
Yeah.
But this guy is running a huge kitchen by himself, okay? And he's the chef, and there's nobody working there anymore. I was shocked. And I'm going in this place, and he goes, well, this section's closed. I have to jump over there when I need to. And these are big restaurants, and they're down to 1-2 guys in these big kitchens that had 15, 20 people working. It's people don't see that on the other side, you know, and it's just because they had to cut back, because if you don't have anything going out, how do you pay people? You know what I mean? It's not that they want to fire people. It's just that they have to lay them off. And a lot of people laid off, and they do take them back. And I thought in the beginning that's not going to happen, but it's true. They're taking people back that they used to have, because how many people, and any location, if you get a guy that's been working, and you have a restaurant, you're working, you got a chef or somebody who's really valuable to you, bartender, 20, 25 years in the job, they know their job. You know what I mean? You want them back. You know, they don't want to, you know, take that, you know, somewhere else. So there's a lot of that happening here. Yelp. Yes. Eric Snyder just wrote Yelp. That's the one. Yelp. It got off my head. Yelp. I mean, and that's an easy avenue to knock somebody down, you know?
I think what maybe people doesn't really understand as it relates to kitchen or executing things out, you know, you have a country that is shrink, right? People are not physically going out, which means that everything shrink around that, right? So you have these restaurants now that now they cannot charge you full price as they would before, and you know, and just to keep their door open, right? They're probably producing maybe, I don't know, maybe 50% or less of their menu, right? You know, just to get by. And then the product in which they're receiving, who knows what quality, who knows what type of quality that item is, and again, what you're paying for it, you know? So, you know, any chef can use any product at any time and just make it work, and you know, and just make sure that their food tastes the way how it physically needs to taste, right? But at the end of the day, if you have a restaurant that require, I don't know, 4 or 5 guys behind your line to execute whatever dish may be, now you're doing it with 2, right? Some things will change. And again, if that institute does not, I don't know, look at their menu, shrink it, or maybe they take their 10 best selling items on the menu and try to execute those at the end of the day, you know. So I don't know, things are changing, you know, and then you're getting individuals who may not use to, or who may not probably would dine at your restaurant, maybe because of pricing or whatever, we don't know, right? And so when a menu shrinks, and if you never dined at a restaurant before, but now you can dine there because the price may sound reasonable, right? You know, a lot of these things create a lot of problems. You know, some of those things are what we face here, you know, as well. You know, because you know, rooms are not selling for like 300 or like, you know, 300 or 400 bucks a night anymore, right? You know, hotels will remain open and rooms may be 100 bucks, 120 bucks, whatever the case may be there, right? You know, and so, you know, when resorts or business are trying just to keep their door open where they can hire up, one or two guys just to keep people working into the market that they need to work to support, and so that everyone can have a little bit of something, that stretches out. The things are changing. And to Chef Kevin's point, at the end of the day, who knows? It's a paradigm change as it relates to what's happening, and how we're going to come out of that, and going forward, how people are going to dine. What are going to be the expectation as it relates to dining out, dining in, or buying things better, faster as it relates to, what's going to happen there. So different times, man, going forward, different times.
Different times. Different times. I'm gonna have to get Dave Evans on my show, huh? He's really good. He has a great perspective from what's going on over there, and I think everybody needs to know about that too. I'm gonna ask Dave to come on in the future. But no, guys, it's true. It's exactly what you're saying, Donovan. It's going to be a learning experience, and like I'm gonna have a local place on next week, and they go through their situations too. They got hard in the beginning, and they have to change. And a lot of us local people go to the local places. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to go to the strip. And people go there if we have to. But it's like you want to go, but things aren't the same right now. And I just it's like right now it's 25%. So what was asked over here was, all right, let's cut everything down to 50. Okay, so they cut down to 50. Now they had to cut down to 25. So basically, it's another 50. So now you're working at 25% capacity. Then you got to play with the gaming board. Then you got to play with the OSHA board. Then you got to play with the health code. And then what do you do? Right. And then, there's a lot of issues. So now people say, if you please bring us back to 50, because, they said that they may because the vaccines. And, that I knew vaccines were going to be issues. Everybody knew there was going to be issues. It always is and things like that. So now if they bring it back to 50, people are going to feel, wow, a little bit of a relief. We can bring people back. But they're afraid, because if they bring the people back, what's going to happen if whoever's in charge decides to cut it back again? You know what I mean? Now you got to start all over again. So people are shy to go back. It's like, gentlemen, what happened in the early 2000s all over the country? What was it? 2005, 2006, we had the economy hit and the real estate market took a dive, right? And then everybody was afraid.
Travel stopped. Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen again. And that's what I'm afraid of. But on the positive end of things, guys, I think that there's things that are going to be positive. I know that, and I think that it's true. Yeah, this gentleman just said the buffets are doomed. And you can understand that, because it's it's just the way it is. And that's right now. That's the way it is. I mean, they tried out here, guys. I don't know if you know that they try to have, like you were doing, Donovan, like you said, no touch buffet. They had a couple of that out here. I mean, the Wynn resorts did that, and they had the most high end version of that, obviously, and you had to close. You had to close down for whatever reason it was. They're not doing that anymore. And I mean, you've got hotels like the Palazzo right now done. They're closed. That's what's happening. And it's tough. I just hope things change. I knew that it wasn't going to be a miraculous cure all with the vaccinations. We know that. I mean, it's going to take time, but it's something. You know what I mean?
We have to change, like the buffet that we do right now. We have to change it to fit the demographic of the people that we're getting, right? So like now at this resort here, like 60% of our guests are locals, right?
Right.
So we have to change, that to fit the demographic of the guests that we're getting in, to make that work,
Yeah.
And so most of the menus and the things in which we're doing have to change to fit that. Because that's what it is right now. That's just what the world is right now. And so far that has been working as it relates to, you have local, you make local food at the end of the day and trying to make everybody happy.
There's definitely going to be a lot of continued innovation. I mean, the buffet, it's going to be doomed for now, but it'll come back in a different way. It'll reinvent itself. There's a lot of grab and goes and concepts that are coming out right now that are, part market, part grab and go, pizza station, pasta station, things like that kind of is meeting that, so that the customer doesn't get it themselves, things like that. And you're right. I mean, that part of the business has got to be rethought moving forward.
Yeah.
And it will be.
I don't think there's going to be too many manjas in the future. The old days.
No.
Yes,
No, I mean,
Kevin, that was crazy. Come on, that was crazy. Come on. Remember the lobster tails? Come on, for the employees in the beginning. Come on. Those were the days. I mean,
that was
put Manja right now and they do good business because it's local.
that was the game. You remember that? I was shocked. I never was experienced to that till I got here. But yeah,
Jimmy, the other thing I'm wondering is, and you can kind of speak to this, is whether the governors are doing whatever they're doing. Right. Same thing with the restaurants, right. Unless we have something that's unified, and you kind of alluded to it in the beginning of our discussion. I see different jurisdictions. Now, when I left Vegas, I went to all kinds of jurisdictions. I was corporate chef for Isla Capri, which had 15 states, and I opened 2 new casinos there. One which you helped me with, by the way.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good story too. Call Jimmy up. Call Jimmy up if you need help, man. But what about the cross homogenous, travel set? I mean, even minor, not even business class. I'm just talking, the homogenous movement around the country. We're still going to have to be careful of that. Vaccinations are what it takes. Vaccines here, that's great. We're making progress. Right. Vaccinations are going to help, and they're underway. But, in my jurisdictions, I see most places are closed, but not necessarily the sovereign places. Mm-hmm. The next state over might not be all the way shut down. They might be at a certain capacity and some other jurisdictions are wide open. And I'm concerned about that because there is a lot of start and stop. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And it'll catch up with you. It'll meet in the middle, and then we'll kind of move forward from there.
Yeah. And what you've brought up a great point. This governor, they always talk about the Western Coalition is a big deal here. Okay. Our governor wants to see what all the other states are doing, but you can't compare California I say Las Vegas, Nevada, okay, because Las Vegas is where the most people are, and everybody will tell you that in the state, okay. So it's a big difference. But who's coming here now? Everybody from California, because we can. But the silver lining of it all is that it's less cases, less stuff here. But is that going to change or not? You know what I mean? You can't close it down completely because it's a one-town industry, right? So if you close it down, we tried that already. If you close it down completely, it's done. It's done. Okay. If you open it up a little bit more. All right, there's all things I give it to all the frontline workers. I love the medical people. I deal with them at the health department all the time. They're doing everything that they have to do that's allowed to them to do. You know what I mean? But this governor is going to be different than the governor in this state. That governor, you go to Florida, it's wide open. Okay. Now, I was told that from Fort Lauderdale, you were down there, Donovan. You guys been down there, so you know what I'm talking about. Broward County up, and I got the guy coming next week, 2 weeks. Is different than South Florida. Okay, well, why? Okay, it's a governor who said wide open, but South Florida, they're allowed in their jurisdictions to do different things. Okay, so Orlando may be more open than Miami. Miami may be less open than some rural place. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't make sense. Here, what they're doing, it's across the board, 25%, whether you're up north, whether you're in the south. I know Dave can probably speak. He's not on, but I know we got news today. The UK is making things more strict there. Donovan, you said you guys are strict where you are. Again, uniformity would be great. Will that happen? I don't know, because of the politics game that you got to play. If you let the medical people take over, then you got an issue with the other hand. Okay, you're not going to make money because and you close everybody's.
Devastating.
Right. Devastation. So what do? You got to meet in the middle. The Jimmy V way, right? We got to meet in the middle somehow. Do this, do that. And I think that's where they have to go. Will it go that way? I don't know. We are on this type of what they call a pause, the nice word of what they're calling it here, until the 13th, okay, of this month, where they're going to reevaluate things. Okay,
Mm.
I predict, and I'm not, I got no inside information, but the way things are going, they may extend what we're doing now again for another month to see what happens with the vaccinations, new administration, and all that nonsense. Let's just get to the core of the issues. You know what I mean? It's all around the country. It's all around the country. I'm sure in your state, Kevin, you got the same thing with the government, like you were mentioning. Everybody's different, but they're not going to set the policy here. They're trying to set the policy, but what could be more strict here will destroy somebody in rural Nevada where there's 15 people that live. You know what I mean? So what do you do? We got to fight the virus. And
everybody's also incensed about it, and I can only say that from my personal experience, we've got to still be careful, and I know that it's devastating, but in this business, I had a colleague. I learned that a colleague yesterday passed away from COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Young, he was in his 40s.
Yeah,
and his wife is now sick. And these are our neighbors that we had when we lived in the county to our south, which had small case counts, by the way. Especially even now, they still have very small case counts, but it doesn't pick and choose on people. It just you get exposed, right? Now I think about those three beautiful kids. It's still reality. It's not something that is just going to affect the economy. It's wrecking people's lives left and right.
Completely.
My wife and her families, it's been exposed. My sister-in-law's down in LA, and they're just crazy. I mean,
it's really bad. Yeah.
So let's keep our prayers going. Yeah, but like you said, we got to meet in the middle. We're going to be ready for change. There's nobody better than hospitality people to come together, train, make it work hard, and make it safe for people. Because we all, we're nothing without our customers, right?
Right.
Exactly.
If we don't have our customers and they're not healthy and don't feel safe, right? What are the biggest trends coming out right now?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's expense, any of that stuff. Doesn't matter. It's about safe right now. Is it safe? Can I go there and not get this COVID thing, right?
Yeah.
And then the secondary, tertiary things coming, quality,
right,
price, value, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I hope
let's keep working on it.
Yeah, and you see the vaccinations, they have all these side effects and there's not enough case study, and that's true, okay? But if you're in a life and death situation, you're going to do what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that I'm going to go get the shot tomorrow. I had COVID yesterday. It doesn't work that way. Okay, there's incubation periods. There's all that kind of stuff that deal with it. I mean, the study came out with the one that, and I pretty much Dave, I'm sure, I wish he was on today, but the UK, that people who have excessive allergies that were taking the Pfizer one, okay, and I have excessive allergies, okay, if you take it, very bad side effects, okay, so that was one. Now the Moderna one, I think it's Moderna. Yeah, that came out, okay, and people who had plastic surgery is affecting them, right? So because there's no case studies, they don't know what if you have underlying conditions going to happen, and then now there's a third one that's about to come out from Johnson & Johnson, which is one shot, but they pulled it back because they want more case study. So there are out there. We have no other choice, but you take it, you don't, you whatever. I've never had any symptoms, and to tell you the truth, with allergies, I called the CDC and I asked them, because me, guys, okay, and I asked them, so I have severe allergies, okay. How am I going to determine the difference? You know what the answer I got? And it's not because they're ignorant, because we know they're not. They
won't take it, probably.
They say, be cool. If your allergy medicine works, it's probably your allergies. That's what can they do? It's the same symptoms. You know what I mean? So I've never been anything like what you see. But then again, I have people, and I know people whose family, like Kevin said, has been affected with it. But there is something here that's in front of us that it's going to help us going, moving forward. And that's the only thing we can wish for and hope for. But on a positive note, okay, on a positive note, moving forward with everything we're doing, Kevin's got his company that's rocking and rolling here. You know what I mean? So you guys want information on Kevin's stuff, you can reach Kevin down there.
We're always gonna work together. I think there's no better group of people than hospitality professionals. I mean, we work hard, we work together, You know, I mean, I have a lot of faith in what's going on and what'll come in at the other side. And I think we should be worried. We should be safe. We should be ready.
Yeah.
We should be looking at our P&Ls, ready to innovate, ready to pounce on change and challenge. Like always, you know, you meet challenge, meet it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't turn your cheek. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be there tomorrow, right?
Yeah, if I was afraid of challenge, boy, I tell you, I wouldn't have gotten where I got today, because I was under a lot of challenge with a lot of people second guessing me in the early days. You know what I mean?
That hotel would have never got built.
No, this guy's a pain in the ass. Get him out. You know, he's a pain in the ass. You know, well, the pain in the ass is there for a reason. You know what I mean? But hey,
we have a lot of those conversations. We have a lot of those conversations, my friend. A lot of support, so you're good to go.
Yeah. And you know, how's the vacation world down there, Donovan? Is there a lot of people coming from out of the country? Do they let people in from the different parts of the world into Jamaica, or is it pretty much low key?
Well, with the exception of England now, that we do not accept people from England right now, kind of close it up. But
that's everywhere. Yeah.
Right. But from, you know, I think from anywhere else that is approved based on the tourism administration here. So based on any place else, given that the requirement are passed, you know, before you come to Jamaica, it's required for you to do your COVID check, and it has to be of course, negative before you can enter. Because again, once you enter at the airport, then you're rechecked again, right? Just to make sure that the test that you did, wherever you take that test before entering, you're still negative, you know, before entering, basically. So, and yeah, you know, people are traveling. I mean, right now, I mean, occupancy are just a bit low, but New Year's Eve, Christmas, New Year's Day, we kind of run around 30, 40% occupancy, which was not bad. Kind of went right back down now. But, you know, we're kind of looking to see where February, March, so on and so forth. January is going to be a pretty slow month. So, you know, we're kind of seeing where things go, give and take there. But so far, people are vacationing.
Yeah, they're asking you, is there a quarantine time in Jamaica? Like here we go to by the guidelines of the CDC, 10 days.
Right. So like if you're coming in and you're not staying in a resort, let's say you come visit family, then you have to quarantine for 14 days. You can't travel anywhere. And then you're tagged for that 14 days because you have to download an app with your information and number in there, and then you have to check in every day for that 14 days. And it's an app where basically if you travel anywhere you go, they kind of see where you are, so they kind of just come and pick you up if you're not supposed to travel outside.
Well, that's cool. And gentlemen,
yeah,
this is great. I mean, we can talk and talk. We gotta do it again, man. You know, I should try to get some of the old other guys in, you know, and have a big, they say I can do 10 people on this thing, you know, it'd be unbelievable. How do you get a word in edgewise?
Like an old
yeah, it's amazing. It's real good. But I try to keep it to an hour, you know, and I know there's some questions coming in. Like, I know Dave is making a comment that he has friends in Jamaica. He'd love to go there. And you know what? As soon as all this is done and they get a grip on it all, you know, because I know there's people out there don't want to take the vaccination. They want to wait. And I understand that too, because they have no symptoms, never had, but they're going to try what I hear. They're going to try to make it a little difficult that you can't fly in a plane unless you have proof that you had, you know, no vaccination, you know, that kind of deal I hear. But then again, guys, I don't know if you remember in the old days, I don't know if Kevin remembers this. If you didn't have NSF sticker on your equipment, you can go on eBay and buy them. You know, that was the old days. You know, but hey, I'm just afraid. I hope that doesn't happen. But anyway, gentlemen, it's been great. I really loved having you guys. Donovan, you got to come back and we'll go fishing again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as soon as they get a hold on the COVID thing where they're not coming over to the Vegas side. It's scary in Vegas right now in California, but.
Oh, yeah. Here's an old guy you guys may remember. Remember Loic? Jeff Loic? I don't know if Kevin
remember Loic.
Yeah. Over there in La Brea Bakery. How's that old name?
yeah.
Oh, man.
It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can sit on here and they're all going to show up, Kevin. They're all going to come on. You're going to all of us.
Hey, listen, I saw some of the guys that you were also having on with the cannabis thing last show, Jen and all those guys. I mean, again, that's another way we're innovating, right?
Yeah.
But good shows. I'm glad you're doing well, Donovan. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Glad you're staying safe out there. Keep innovating. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Next time we talk again, then we'll talk about my business that I'm working on. So that's good to go.
Absolutely. You say it. What are you doing? If you got something to talk about.
I'm not gonna say it yet.
That's okay. That's okay, man. That's okay.
Jimmy's ready.
Yeah, well, you let me know you're ready. You're on, man. In a minute, you make one phone call. You know, Jimmy, I want to go on. I got my thing rocking.
When I'm up and running, I will reach out.
Oh, you know it. You know, no issues. And those of you who are waiting for the new show, it's next Monday for me. It's going to be Sports Nucleus. That's going to come on with Eric. Eric, that's next week on Monday. And then Tuesday, I'm doing it again. We're going to have a local restaurant out here. I don't want to tell you any hints about that, but it's going to be another good one. I call it the Hidden Gem Part 2. And then down the line, some more of that. And then I don't want to get into this too much, but then I'm going to have a supernatural show. And that's going to be fun. I was telling these guys off the air about it. Whether you believe in it or not, it's going to be fun. It's all entertainment. It's all fun. And with that. But with that said, gentlemen, thank you so much for being on. It was my honor to have you guys and all those with the messages. Dave Evans, you're coming on the show, man. You can't tell me no. He's going to come on and give me perspective of what's going on in England. I'll be in touch with him. Usually am a lot. And Kevin, we'll have you on again. You know that.
It's great to see you guys. I'd love to come back.
Great to see. And, you know, it's only my first show for the season, so it's great. You know what I mean? And I go by the hip, man. I don't script anything. It's just right by the hip. You guys say what you want. No one's ever back in the corner. And it's all fun, man. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
Nice to see you, Jimmy, for sure.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.